I'm sorry, I don't know your name.
Tim Johnson from McClatchy Newspapers.
Jim, nice to see you.
Nice to see you. I have to say I'm pretty surprised at this. At least the sensation I get is that there was very little contact at upper levels between Turkey and the U.S. government, certainly the Pentagon, in the first, 72 hours after this coup. Can you describe any contact or how?
Again, I'm not going to read out the conversations that all of the commanders who have regular contact with their Turkish counterparts, whether it be through EUCOM or Central Command. There were conversations happening. I'm not going to provide you and cannot provide you the tick-tock and detail on each and every one of those conversations. But you can be sure we were trying to find out exactly what was happening, using all the resources at our disposal to do that. And that included mill-to-mill conversations to make sure we knew what was happening on the ground and to make sure our people were safe. And then that was being done. I just cannot detail each and every one of those to you. I can provide you a picture of the information the Secretary was getting, but I can assure you from meetings that I participated in and others that took place that there was an active effort to find out exactly what was happening, to find out the status of our personnel, and to make sure that everything possible was being done to make sure our people were safe and that this situation, that we had a good grip on this situation, which was, as I said at the top, was a surprise to us.
Was there any reason why the Secretary of Defense didn't pick up the phone and call his counterpart?
Again, we had commanders on the ground who were responsible for this area, and it was at that time the decision. They were in the best means to have an understanding of what was happening at that time, and that's what they did. Tara.
Quick follow-up. All personnel have been accounted for. Can you assure the public that all U.S. weapons, small arms, ammunition, aircraft have also been secured and accounted for?
As I said before, we've taken all the appropriate steps we feel we need to take to ensure the safety of our people, dependents, military and civilian personnel, as well as the facilities. So
what about the weapons?
We've taken all those steps that we need to take to make sure that everything that we control in Turkey is safe and secure. Yes?
Okay, the one thing, can you go back? You've mentioned the power supply several times, and I'm not sure I really do understand. If you can't say time frames, but if you have to stay on generator power, does that itself become a limiting factor in continuing trying to get back to full operations and continuing full operations? In other words, does there come a point when you have to be back on the commercial power system or you can't really get back to full operations? Is lack of power, is the reliance on generator power a limiting factor?
I don't believe it's a limiting factor right now, but I think, Barbara, I think it's safe to say over time that it could become a limiting factor. But at this moment, I'm not aware that it is. The concern would be if it were a protracted period of time, then we would potentially have to make adjustments.
And one last question. You've said a couple of times that the Secretary was surprised by the coup Friday night. I don't even know how to ask it. I mean, a coup in a military coup in a NATO country where the U.S. maintains a very sophisticated stockpile of weapons, and the Secretary of Defense genuinely surprised. How is this anything other than a significant failure in military intelligence? Because there were over 3,000 Turkish personnel involved in it. It wasn't like one random act. How does he view this? I can't imagine he's too happy about being surprised by this. So how does he view this as anything other than a failure in intelligence?
As you said, I think it was not just the Department of Defense, but others who were surprised by the events that played out on Friday. And there will be, I'm sure, an effort to assess if there should have been more information that we should have obtained previously. But we reacted as we did to the facts as we knew them, to the reality on the ground, and that's where we are today. And the Secretary is focused on making sure our operations continue, that our people are safe and secure, and that our relationship with Turkey, again, continue to progress.
Is it an intelligence failure?
I'm not going to label the events in Turkey any particular thing, Barbara. This was obviously something that points to issues within Turkey itself that I think are best left to the Turks. Yes, Lucas.
Did the U.S. lose an ally when the commander of the Incirlik Air Base was arrested?
Our ally is, NATO ally is Turkey itself. So I'm not going to get into the individual members of the military. Our ally is Turkey. Our relationship is with the country of Turkey.
Did it bother the Secretary that since Turkey is this NATO ally, member ally, that our U.S. military's colleagues on the ground, while they were helping the United States and the coalition fight ISIS, they were also plotting a coup in their spare time?
Again, Lucas, I'm not going to get into the goals or ambitions of individual members of the Turkish military. I will leave that to the Turkish officials to describe. Paul.